Family TV. Enriching lives. Regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission. Issues at hand.
Good morning once again, and we welcome you to Issues at Hand. And now we are continuing, and of course we have come into Issues at Hand talking about something very, very pertinent, especially when it gets to women. We are talking about cyber harassment, and of course when we talk about cyber harassment, it is broader than what we think, although we limit it, sometimes we as people limit it, and it's also unfortunate that the people who do the cyber harassment do not mind about the vulnerability of the people who they are taking them through. And of course we've seen very many we've had very many reports of people committing suicide over the effects that come with the cyber harassment. But also there is a way it demeans someone, there is a way it kills someone's self-esteem. So it is really unfortunate. And when we talk about cyber harassment, the effects are very, very many. We can never exhaust them. However, we want to get to the real understanding of cyber harassment. When did it even begin? Because when we embrace technology, we say this is a .com era. Why do we have now to come back and decree the effects that come by the .com era? So with us is Aloyo Omega from FIDA Uganda. So she is going to tell us, most importantly, what we can do to protect. Okay, because we're looking at women, I'm also representing women. So what we can do to safeguard ourselves, but also what the government can do. Omega, it's a pleasure having you once again after a long while. Hi,
it's always a pleasure to be here on Family TV. I thank you for the opportunity. Well, maybe what our viewers don't know is that every time that Family TV calls us here, we actually don't pay. They reach out to us and they say, this is a topic that we think people need to hear, cyber harassment. So a lot of regards to Family TV for being a TV that actually cares about people's needs and is looking for topics that people want to say. But like he has rightly introduced me, my name is Aloyo Omega. I work at FIDA Uganda as the Advocacy and Communications Officer. Maybe I'll just share something small about FIDA Uganda before we get into what online violence is.
And you also tell us why you didn't invite us when you're celebrating the 50 years. Oh, you can be specifically. You didn't invite me.
No, don't worry. There will always be another date we invite. But FIDA Uganda is a women's organization that is using the law to create social change. You know, very many times people say, hey, you work at FIDA Uganda, which means you collect school fees. No, it is not just about school fees. It is about, using the law to make sure that everyone is safe, everyone feels safe. So if you ask yourself right now, what is the cost of a lawyer in Uganda for a one market woman, they cannot even begin to afford a lawyer. So FIDA Uganda is a collective of women lawyers that came up and said we are going to provide free legal services to women. So whether that means they are stealing your land and you need someone to come in, the documents, also the legal documents, where is the title, where is the this, a caveat. So it is that collective
and some
of women
people are
that
even
came out.
Innocent. They're naive. They don't know.
Yes. So ask yourself how many people know about the law in Uganda, or what to do. So this group of women came up and said that, there is a lot of gender-based violence. There is a lot of suffering that women are facing. And so that is what we do. We use the law, whether that means we are going to parliament to say that, this law is not okay here, or that means we are collecting school fees, or we are helping women register their businesses. So that is what we do as FIDA Uganda, and as you can see on my shirt, we celebrated 50 years.
And an
invitation
invited.
Will come for Family TV. We have to do another celebration, but today we are talking about online gender-based violence.
Yes, and we want to understand this broadly. What in context should we consider as online violence or cyber harassment?
So online gender-based violence is very unique, because it has two words. It has the word online and it has gender-based violence. So you know what gender-based violence is, not so? Those acts that are really whether they are physical, whether they are emotional, whether they are psychological, against a person, simply because of their gender. So that can be beating, that can be abusing, that can be stalking. But remember, these smartphones have introduced a new world. You can be here and you're talking to a person in the UK. So now accessibility in the 21st century is not the accessibility of the 20th century. So every time you buy data for 500 shillings, 500 shillings gets you 25 MBs. It has opened you to a new world. You go on Facebook, you know what Kim Kardashian is doing in the UK, you know what is on Family TV, you can watch service, you can watch the news. So the first thing to understand is that the internet has opened a new world. That means that with this new world, there are new what? New people, new exposure to different things, right? So whether that means a child is on the phone scrolling, you've seen how TikTok is. Children are just scrolling. Do you know those people? You don't know those people. Some are from Asia, some are from China. So that is the first point to always look at, is that accessibility, right? Then now you ask yourself, if there is this accessibility, are people safe in this online gender-based violence? Just before we started this show, I was telling you that my father is watching from Gulu. And the funny story is that he just recently started using WhatsApp a long time ago. Not a long time ago, just recently. He has started using WhatsApp. But you can imagine someone that is, let me say, in their 60s, is starting to use this application. You see? So the internet is not going anywhere. It is here to
very
stay.
well we see old people about 75 on TikTok.
You have to use it for communication. But in that using it, are you safe? So we know that the Constitution of Uganda says that, you know what, we all have the right to be equal before the law. You have the right to be free from cruel and degrading treatment. There are all these rights that are in the law, right? The right to your privacy. That, you know what, if I don't want a picture of my body out there, why should a picture of my body be on the phone? So online gender-based violence is that violence now that is being perpetrated through a technology. You understand? So that technology can be the TV, it can be a phone, it can be a radio, but this time it is happening on these devices, and people most times downplay it and say, you know what, it is just people expressing themselves. Yes, you have the right to express yourself, but you must express yourself in a way that also protects other people's what? Rights. So maybe I'll just give you a few examples of online gender-based violence. So you have cyber stalking. You can you imagine that you're on your phone, but someone puts a GPS tracker on your phone. They know exactly where you are. There is a lady who came to FIDA and told us her husband linked her WhatsApp to his WhatsApp. So he knew everything that she was receiving.
We also have ladies who do the same to their husbands.
So this side, the other side, it is wrong. What is wrong is wrong. But
irrespective of who does it.
Irrespective of who does it. Because everyone deserves to feel what? Safe. So cyber stalking, cyber harassment, you have doxing. There is a thing called doxing. I was reading about it, and here someone just gets your information and shares it online. And says that this gentleman, his national ID number is 123456. Do you know what a national ID is in Uganda? It is a very important document. If this person's credit card number is this and this, that is personal information. A telephone number back in the day was just a number for what? For calls. These days, a telephone number is connected to your Airtel money. We have forms of violence that are so sad and disturbing. Something like online grooming. So online grooming is where a stranger, it usually happens to children, a stranger will start a relationship with a child. So you can imagine, hello, how are you? The child responds, I'm fine. So they talk. Every day the stranger says hello. It is slow, it is gradual. But the stranger is building trust with that what? With that child. Then before you know it, the relationship changes. It becomes controlling. Hey, what are you going to eat today? Matoke. Don't eat matoke, eat beans. You see? So the stranger is conditioning the child. Before you know it, the stranger can even start asking that child to do sexual things because they have created a relationship.
And that is actually so common. Unfortunately, very many parents don't know that this is happening within their children's devices.
And you have to ask yourself now, how did we even reach that place? And it happens, but now it takes a very special type of parent who is committed to their child, to have a child open up and say that, you know what, I talked to this person on Facebook, they send me messages and they greet me and they say this and this and this. So really, those are some few examples of online gender-based violence. We have some, I think, that you usually see on social media. I saw Bruno K one time took a blogger, was threatening a blogger and said, how could you reveal the DNA of my child?
Results of my child.
Do you know how disturbing that is? That is very personal information. Yes. So imagine that child grows up, and you're seeing on the internet all this scuffle about who your father is. There is a lady who went online and said that, you know what, someone went on social media and said they aborted a child. And it became a big thing. It became a very big thing. So you can imagine, these are people, these are real lives, these are stories. When you log onto your social media and you write Omega Aloyo, these days we exist in two worlds. We exist as I am, but then there is also this Omega Aloyo, who is a creature of the internet. I have a Facebook account, I have a Twitter account, I have maybe a YouTube account. So imagine someone is on there tarnishing your name, and you want to get a job in the future. And the first thing people, when they write your name on the internet, it is just misinformation and lies and vulgar things. There are some stories that we've seen that are so disturbing, whereby violence can start online and then it becomes physical violence. So you can imagine someone says, hey, this woman cheated on her husband, or this man cheated on his what? On his wife. Let me put his number and his home here. Then they share. Then before you know it, there is mob justice. Online violence is not just about, let me get my phone and I just, this is a real world where things are happening. People can actually be trafficked online. You've seen, hey, we are looking for jobs. Then you register. You come to this place. Then you are trafficked. So, and you can imagine the type of society that we live in. People are not tech savvy. People even fear. They don't know how to use this thing called the internet. So how do you protect yourself? I know we are going to have later on a session on that, but it was really just for me to paint for you a picture on what this type of violence is. Someone can stalk you. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're here, but every minute someone is calling you. And we've had cases where someone calls you and just says, for lack of a better word, nonsense. How are you? Blue, pink, what? It sounds like a joke, but that is mental torture. Because now you're left to ask yourself, who is this person? What do they want? You've seen those things. You block the number, that person calls again. And you say, what is this? So, the psychological effects cannot be undermined. People are committing suicide. I can give you my own personal experience. I remember one time I got a message, and in this message, it was, the profile picture on WhatsApp. It was a cartoon, a very scary cartoon, like the way someone would draw a little devil. Not even an avatar, just a cartoon. And I opened the message, and there is no message. It is just 2 words: rise or drown, sink or swim. I said, okay, what is this? Then in that message, there was another telephone number. So automatically that person is telling you, call this number. But already you are so tortured to say that, what if I call this number? Then what happens?
What's happening? Who is this person?
Who is this?
What do they want to tell me?
That is a level of unsafety we cannot even begin to comprehend. Because now I have to ask myself, what if I call? And this is a scary thing. You start even asking yourself, how many people have I in fact wronged? Who did I wrong last week? What did you see? You start assessing yourself. But jokes aside, it is to paint for you the picture of psychological torture. So what I did, I deleted that that message. Then the person did it again. Then I deleted. Then the person did it again. And as I share, you can imagine all those types of violence I've told you, or examples. These things happen. Then I deleted. Then eventually they stopped. But later on when I was reading, and I realized, you know what, I shouldn't have deleted this message. I should have kept it, gone to the police, and found out who this person was. You see. but I deleted it. And it happens to a lot of people that when they're faced with online gender-based violence, they say, you know what, let me just, I won't stress myself. Let me just delete this thing and it what? And it goes. So that is the new world we are living in. They call it the new normal. The new normal. The internet is the new normal. It is here to stay. But much as it is here to stay, how do we make sure that everyone feels safe and comfortable? Because now this type of violence, it is so personal. You can even feel ashamed to say it with other people. You've seen where people's private pictures are just shared on the internet. And now you start saying, imagine your personal being is everywhere for everyone to see. Of course, you are the bad one. We live in a very moralistic society. And the perpetrators are laughing. We've seen where people share people's pictures and start extorting them for money. Give me 500,000 shillings or I will share this picture. So now, imagine that thing happens to you and you've never heard of the word online gender-based violence. You think this is a normal interaction. Another girl came to FIDA Uganda and said, shared with us, she was living, I think, in Mutungo. And she was saying they used to live on Buzigo. You know Buzigo? So they share bathrooms. So every time she was going to bathe, these boys would record her going to the bathroom and they would post it on TikTok. My neighbor goes to bathe part 1. My neighbor goes to bathe part 2. And the first time she told us the story, we couldn't believe it. But this thing was happening to her.
And strange.
So you can imagine you're in a video of another person. Yes, the video may not show you actively bathing, but every time you're in your towel, you're entering. You know when women are going to bathe, or you have water on your body, and you've entered and now you've come back. And then she said, we can check together. But and I was thinking in my head and I was saying, the right to privacy, this is a basic right. And how many people go through these things and they don't even know this. That you know what this is. Because
they don't even know where to go to.
So the whole community knew that, oh, you want to take up TikTok and Naba.
And surprisingly, such videos get
they
very many likes.
The people laugh in the comments. They laugh in the comments, and you don't know sometimes that when you're laughing at these very horrible things, you're perpetrating a very negative culture, and you're abusing people's rights. So that example for me, it really stood out, because then what do you do? And this gentleman, I remember he used to say, Simu Yang, it's my phone. I can do what I want with it. So this freedom of expression that we say that we have, are we really using it in a way that is promoting other people's what? Rights. You cannot simply say I have the right to do this. No.
And now when you talk about TikTok, there are also very many attacks that come against people on TikTok. You know, sometimes you watch through and you see a team of people seated together to come against one person, and then you're like, okay, do you ever mind what the other person goes through and what happens in their closed door because of the messages you're throwing out? That
one is so popular. You know, you've seen bloggers, they are just talking about everything. This person, I think this person is a prostitute, this one is a this one is a that. But these are real life people. Move away from the likes, move away from the comments. These are people. The way that when I'm usually talking about online gender-based violence, I like to say that these things that are happening online, if we get all of them and we put them here in physical life, can you say them? Can you say them to this person here? Or this phone has become a shield. You hide behind a screen and you abuse people. Can you? You've seen them. I don't want to mention their names, but you've seen them. You see these musicians of ours, they go on stage because of the nature of their business. They're supposed to wear a certain way. But you see people actually groping people's bodies. And you see musicians trying to defend themselves. Don't touch me here. This is a very inappropriate thing to do. And then you go on social media comments. Look at her. Why did she dress up like this? If you Aina Malala. You know them, which means you are. I don't know if you've but I am sure you've not. You have not.
No, I can't.
Hey.
I can't. But I read through the comments and you
Yes.
see you see what people and how people comment. Meaning, people want people to be harassed.
Hey.
I mean,
I don't think it is that people want to be harassed.
no,
It is,
people don't want to be harassed, but. There's a group of people who want to see others being harassed, and probably to them that is what gives them joy when they see someone is being harassed, and then they'll come out and celebrate.
I think it is socialization. People want to socialize. Yeah? And when you create culture is not static. Yeah? It takes one person to go in the comment section and say, but why would you say that about a person? You see, she also has rights. Why would you call her prostitute? Why you understand?
Yeah.
That is culture. But then the things that we see online, they are just a manifestation of the things that happen in real life, right? So if in real life we are having gender-based violence, you're going to have it online. If people's minds are not yet attuned to say that, you know what, women are people that are deserving of dignity, of respect, then those same people will do those same things where online. And you know, young boys will be out there, they are using the internet. Children are their minds are so young and fresh. So a child will just be scrolling and they see something and they say, so this is okay, this is how a person interacts. Then before you know it, culture. And this thing is so dangerous, because I was reading someone, it was saying that just 5.2% of Facebook posts reach 2.5 or 25 million Ugandans. Can you imagine?
Well, there is something strange, Omega. This is a funny story, but it happened where a certain parent posted their child, but because they posted their child at a point where the other child, they were promoting some other child to be a brand ambassador of a certain company. So a group of people, including media personalities, came and now abused this other child. But they are all young. They're about 2 years or less. They're young babies. But they came against this a child. And I wonder what will happen when this child grows up and this is what she sees. They talked about her. We are taking a short commercial break. When we return, we shall talk about now the special interest groups, including the children.
Issues at hand. This is Church of Uganda Family TV. Enriching lives. Regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission. This is Church of Uganda Family TV. Enriching lives. Regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission. Issues at hand.
Welcome back from that break. Well, we are looking at online gender-based violence, and this is so critical. This is at the heart, it should be at the heart of every Ugandan, because we need to join up to end this. Okay, do not be the reason someone else is crying in their bedroom, in the blanket, because you harassed them online. But of course, before the break, I was talking about children. And we've seen very many children falling victims of this, and some are so ignorant. They don't even know what is happening. They don't even know that they're abusing them. But I imagine what will happen when this child gets to about 10 or 15 years, when they can now discern and follow back to these old videos, because social media, internet never forgets.
Never.
Internet never forgets. Because like TikTok and Facebook keeps on reminding you, they bring something on this day, or maybe a memory. So to show you that on such a day, 7 years ago, this happened. And so one day you'll be scrolling, and then you see on this day, and this is you, the child. So we look at the special interest groups and how we can protect them, especially against online gender-based violence.
So children are also, they are just, for lack of a better word, children are innocent. You think about yourself when you were a child. You're under the guidance of a person. That's why the law says that a child has to be under the guidance of their parent or a guardian. I'll give you a small example. There is a video I saw, I don't know if it was from a West African country. A very young baby, 6 months. And this baby was being held, I think it was by the uncles. And they were in a house. They were all drunk. Some of them were visibly smoking, and there was loud music, and they were dancing, and they were saying, "You were born in the wrong family," joking and laughing, sort of telling the child that you should have been born to the rich. And I remember the video, people kept on circulating the video, but all I could think about was, first of all, this child is being exposed, smoke, those fumes. This is a very unsafe environment for the child. Also, a human being is a human being. This child is psychologically affected. But then you can imagine capturing all that in a video and putting it in on social media. So when this child grows, what is the question of the right to privacy for that child? And you were earlier on sharing that do not be the reason someone else is crying. People must also understand that this thing is not just a moral question. It is a crime. It is a crime to do these things, by the way. And I think that is something that people don't know. People think these are just normal interactions. No, they are not interactions. You could actually be perpetrating a crime when someone sends you someone's videos or photos, and you just press forward to another WhatsApp group. The law says transmission. So if this person went to court tomorrow and they had to prove from the originator of the crime to the transmitters, you see how you're falling in the net. You're a transmitter.
And there are people who forward things, and you say forwarded many times.
Forwarded many times.
And someone still forwards.
So you can imagine, but going back to the question of children, it is really, how do we make sure that children are safe? Because sometimes you'll find, like in the two scenarios where we have both shared, it is now the parents that are putting children's personal information online. Is it that as a country we have to say, when we are putting children's information online, these will be the regulations and guidelines? It will not be in any way to degrade a child or to you understand? The law talks about the best interest principle of the child. What is that environment that makes sure that a child is safe, a child is comfortable? Because those scenarios that you've described, these children are going to grow up, and they are going to have phones, and they are going to read all these comments, and they are going to see themselves, and relationships are going to be broken with parents. Because now the child will say, sincerely, mommy, why would you post this? And expose me to this type of of situation. But also, again, as a country, we must ask ourselves, how do we regulate children and the internet and social media. As FIDA Uganda, we did some advocacy around Pretty Nicole. You saw Pretty Nicole in a music video. That is a child. No matter whether this child is 16, 17, as long as you're below 18, you're supposed to be protected. Why? Because your brain has not yet fully formed to understand what adulthood is. What is the consequence of this particular action? But you see a child being in a music video as a love interest for a song that is, you understand?
A love song.
So what are we doing as a country? What is the Uganda Communications Commission? You understand? Is it that that video has to be banned and say that, you know what, this is a child. We will not allow children to star in videos that are propelling them as sexual gratification objects. Because I think in the video she's wearing a bikini and she's in a swimming pool. But this is a child. So who is going to protect that child? So later on when she grows up and let me say she's like 30 years, 40 years, wouldn't she say she was taken advantage of? Because this was a child. So how are we making sure that, you know what, there is this group of people, whether they want to be online, we have to protect them. Sometimes, very many times, children use the internet to watch cartoons. You've seen it. You're with a child and then the child is bored and then you say, let me put some data mutereko ku cartoons. And every time my little niece is watching cartoons, I say, you will not watch cartoons in the bedroom. Come and sit here where everyone is. Because these apps are designed in such a way that you're just scrolling. A child can follow on anything.
Exactly.
You understand? And because they are falling on anything, some of these topics and concepts are so new to their young minds, they are not going to come and open up to you and say that, you know what, I saw this thing, what is it? Or a child can fall on anything. You've seen those Illuminati videos, or do this and this. The internet is really just awash with so much information. Or just abuses, degradation. So children are a special type of breed that we must really be what? Careful to protect. Like I said, grooming. So many children have been trafficked through grooming. So many so many children have actually gone into pornographic worlds because of grooming. Someone is in India, a very perverted person, starts building a relationship with a child. How are you? My name is so and so. Are you my friend? Yes. And they do it. Grooming is in such a way, like I said, it is in such a way that it is slow and gradual. It is meant to build trust. A person can groom a child for 4 years. 4 good years. Just asking the child, how are you? What did you eat today? What did your parent do today? My mother quarreled on me today. So you realize that the person is building emotions up, down. You can trust me. And when I read on the internet, it says it starts with a very small act. Can you put your hair in a ponytail today? Can you do this tomorrow? Before you know it, those requests keep what? Escalating. The person can even tell the child, I'm coming to this place. Can you come and meet me? So if you don't have that relationship with your child, what will you do? But where is all of this?
The phone.
On the phone. On the phone. This small little phone. So this
that
phone
you bought with your money.
You bought with your money. So this phone, it is a good thing. It is allowing us to communicate. But it has also become a weapon of mass destruction. The things that it can do, all the vulnerability and exposure it can create is dangerous.
Now that the phone is already here with us, technology is here with us, no question about that, because you realize that even the curriculum that is coming up requires a child to spend more time with a phone or a laptop, on computer, doing research. So that is the way to go. And when you realize that today you can do a lot of work online, so I mean, that is the way to go. And much as we are talking about people who use media the other way, there are also people who are using social media to promote their businesses and all that. But how can people protect themselves? Because okay, we look at women as the most vulnerable. I'll say I think the most emotional when it gets to this. That a man, much as they'll be hurt, they'll portray that confidence, and then and we never know they are hurting. But a woman will respond immediately if they are hurting. So we look at them simply because they the most vulnerable to this, but also you realize that they're the most users. So how can we protect them? How can they protect themselves against this?
How can we protect ourselves? But before we go into protection, you say that women are more emotional and vulnerable. And I want to say that, you know, as Africans, we have propelled this culture that boys should not show emotions.
Exactly.
So, no, it is not.
And that is why the mental health issues are increasing with boys.
Just increasing. Yes. Young boys are committing suicide. Exactly. So now you see how we have talked about online gender-based violence. Imagine it is happening to a young boy in P2. He goes to class, someone is saying, this person is stupid or something. Can you imagine? I saw a comment, God forgive me even for saying it aloud. You deaf idiot. Wow. You're a person that is living with disability. But every time you try to post something, you understand your disability is being used against you. So let us create an environment of positive masculinity. That you know what, you're a man, but also if something happens to you, you can come out and and share. So that for me is something that is interesting, because boys will keep quiet. They'll say I'm too emotional.
And they'll even say you're not a man enough.
You're not a man. Yes. No. God created us with these human emotions for a reason and a purpose. The more we suppress them or try to make boys seem like they don't have them, we create a very bad breed of what? Of people that are not in tune to themselves, people that are not true to themselves, people that cannot express themselves, and because they cannot express themselves, they cannot show empathy to others. So that is really something that I just wanted to share. If you're out there and you're a young man, please just embrace positive masculinity, embrace the fact that you are also a human being. But coming back to how we can protect ourselves, the first one is safety starts with you. We are going to go into what the government can do and all that, but it starts with you. Now that you know that this phone of mine, it is good, but it also can expose me to bad people and bad things. You've seen people stealing other people's money using phones. Like there is this mobile money deal, or you understand? Send me this and this amount of... So there are different types of violence. We said violence can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be psychological, it can be economical, right? So safety starts with you. Don't share your personal information online. Be careful. You don't know numbers, block them. Put passwords on your phone. Put encryptions on your phone. Guard your phone. Because a phone is now a type of property. Your social media accounts are your property. Property these days is not just land. If I tell you right now that if someone hacked your social media and started posting funny things, your career, by the way, can go south. So guard this thing like your property, right? Guard yourself. The other one is really to the government, because you cannot, much as you guard yourself, you cannot guard yourself when there are no policies in place to what? To protect you. We have so many laws, but let us see some more laws and some more initiatives coming up. So for example, things like an internet police. That okay, if something has happened to me, every time I open the Facebook app, there is a number up there. It is mandated by the government. If I see someone saying that, you know what, this person is mad or something, I just go here. So the government should get into contracts, or should place certain regulations for these big companies, to operate in a way that is ethical. So Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all these companies operate here. That is how they make money. But it is really just to tell these companies that, you know what, when you're going to operate in Uganda, it will be a must to display this number, so that anyone who faces online violence just forwards what? Here. So that internet police. The other one that I wanted to share about is really still to do with the government. Every time you register for let me say a Facebook account, you use your national ID number, not so? I'm going to show you how you use your national ID number, because when you're registering for these social media accounts, you use your telephone number, 07 this. But to have a telephone number, what do you use? Isn't it a national ID number? So behind every internet personality, there is an actual human being who can be what? Tracked. Not so? So you will find that someone is called, let me say, Paul 2. On social media. But to go on social media, Paul 2 registered using Paul Mugambe at gmail.com, which registered with 0752 700 this and this, which is linked to national ID number, this and this. So if we can have a coordinated form of tracking these people, we can actually get these people. And you know, there is nothing that organizes human beings like punishment. Yeah?
Exactly.
Right? If people know that, you know what, you can actually be tracked when you do these things, then they will stop doing them. So, for instance, you've abused someone, great. Let us track who exactly is this person. First of all, let the victim report to the net police or go to the nearest police station and report. Then we track who exactly is this Paul to. Okay, this is the Paul. We take you. And you face the law, whatever the law says is the punishment for that. But on top of that, for the government to tell these social media companies that, you know what, if an account in Uganda has committed online gender-based violence, let that account be banned from opening other accounts. So using that same situation of Paul Mugambe that I used, if there is anyone out there called Paul Mugambe, I'm not saying that it is you, but what I'm saying is let that national ID number and that phone number that is perpetrating those acts be banned from ever opening up other social media accounts for a good amount of time. So every time that person tries to get on there, they say, no, you cannot open an account for 2 years. You have been banned because you are perpetrating online gender-based violence. So you actually see that when we get different stakeholders and we put them on the table and we say, how are we going to work together? Airtel Uganda, you have the numbers of these people. NIRA Uganda, you have the national ID numbers. As the government, we are going to put in place this law. Facebook, if you want to operate in this country and if you want Ugandans to join your Mukutu, they call it a Mukutu, you have to agree with these policies. That is how we make a safe Uganda for people. It is actually possible. But it involves all these stakeholders coming together and the government saying that, you know what, this is the law in this in this country. Why should these social media companies make money at the expense of our people? Right? Do you know how much money they make? They are billionaires. How much money does Mark Zuckerberg have?
A lot.
Billions, not so? So why should he continue to make money at the expense of our people? Let our governments come out, Ugandan government, East African government, and say that to operate here actually, these will be the the rules. And if we say that you're going to ban an account, ban it. People will start putting themselves in in order and in check. So that is really...
We looked at a situation, for example, when we are getting to the 2021 elections, where the government banned Facebook in Uganda, but still, even when they banned it, people still access Facebook through different ways. However, of late we saw Tanzania banning X also in the country, and the reason was that people are using it to promote pornography, and so that is why they banned it. Do you believe that this strategy, even when you ban, for example, Facebook was banned, but up now people still use it, and of course there are very many human rights advocates that have come out to say this is wrong. Do you believe that this can still be done as a way of achieving this?
Yes, I actually believe that banning, you know, when you do something, it is not what you have done that matters, it is the why, right?
Okay.
So why are you banning Facebook? Or why are you saying that why are you saying that this thing should not operate in Uganda? If the reason that we have just given is that you want to negotiate with Facebook for a safer online world, then truly ban it. And you know, to some people, this is a business. So for you, Facebook is a company, is a social media platform that you go on to socialize. But to them, it is their business. This is how they make money. You've seen it. Adverts. Isn't that how people are making money online? Adverts, influencers. So gone are the days where to make money in Uganda, you have to go and, you know, sell things in person. No, people are operating businesses online. You buy shoes, you buy bracelets, you buy braids, everything is online. So the same way you would negotiate with a businessman, you just think that a shop was closed, and you are telling a person, you know what, we are closing your shop because every time women enter this shop, they are touched inappropriately. That businessman will say, no, okay, now I'm going to put a security guard here, so that when they're entering now, the security guard is seeing who is, you understand? So what is the purpose of the ban? Is it to bring different stakeholders to the table to negotiate, and say that for our citizens, right? for our citizens, this and this is what we require you to do. So I actually believe that it is a strategy that can provide results.
What about the other side of human rights, where you're depriving people of information and liberty and all that to use whatever they want?
And that is why we go back to the why. Yeah? The why. Is it something that is intentionally to deprive people of their right? Yeah? Or is it that when we do research, and we say that, let me say 4 million Ugandans are dying because of suicide, that is linked to online gender-based violence, women are dying because their private videos are being leaked, young boys are being groomed and, for lack of a better word, sodomized, but all of it is happening on the phone, and we say that, you know what, for you to operate in our country, do this and this, we are giving you 2 months to have negotiations with us, right? So there is a way that you can wait and make sure that the end goal is actually a safer world for people online. So if anything we are going to take away from this show, is that this phone of ours, mine is just down here, this phone of ours, it has brought so many opportunities, but at the same time, it has a very ugly side. My sister always likes to say that in every good thing there is a bad thing, and in every bad thing there is a what? A good thing. So that is what the internet is. That you can use it for the right things, but the day you become unsafe on that internet, or the day someone starts stalking you, and telling you, hey, you at work now, I can see you in Chukubo, you're in a blue shirt, hey, I've seen you, who has sent 50,000 to your phone, the day it turns on you, is the day that you will see that, you know what, you can even want to vanish from the face of the earth.
Omega, give us your closing remarks as we wind up.
So my closing remarks to you would be that personal safety, it starts with you. How are you making sure that the way that you're using this internet, the way that you're using this phone, is in a way that is serving you what? The right way, that you're protecting yourself. At the same time, it's not just about what you do. It's about what you do to others. Are you that person that is on the internet making degradatory remarks about other people, abusing people, calling out people? Use this internet in a fair and respectful, but especially in a legal way. Because if things turn the wrong way, you could actually go to prison for something as small as a comment. No, I just said she was a prostitute. Did you have any facts to prove it? Are you the reason that someone's life is being cut short, that in the future when they want to become a leader, they cannot become a leader because of something that you perpetrated online? To the government and other stakeholders, let us work to make sure that we are creating a safer environment for everyone in this country. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Omega. Like you said, this world is for all. I mean, this country is for all of us. We do not have people who are entitled to certain things in this country. Now, it is each and everybody's responsibility to make sure that your neighbor, the person next to you, or that other person lives in this country safely, but also they enjoy the country. Thank you so much once again for watching us from where we started from up to now. Now that we've come to the end of this show, Edrine Mukalazi is my name. I've worked with Patience, Esther, and Liz. From the entire team, we wish you a blessed day.
Issues at hand